Hey traders, John Hal here. I want to do a video for you guys that may have been maybe finding it hard when it comes to your trading journey right now. And I want to come to this from the perspective of I've just passed 20 years trading the markets myself. And if you've been trading the markets now, say less than 5 years, you're going through what's called the discovery phase, right? The discovery phase. And the the discovery phase is a really difficult phase, right? It really, really, really is. And what I mean about the discovery phase is this. When I first started trading the markets, when I left school, I went and worked for my father as a landscape gardener. So it was wheelbarrows, shovels, hose, rakes, sprinkler systems, different types of grass, rockeries. Remember rockeries? For you guys, for you OG guys, right? Especially for you guys that do landscaping, you know what rockeries are, right? Do they even make rockeries anymore? I don't know. I haven't done landscaping in a long time. But do they even make rockeries anymore? Rockeries is when, for you guys that don't know, is rockeries. You know those old school gardens where they had the rocks around. The rocks were how they made the gardens, right? Separate the gardens from you had the grass and you had the gardens, but the gardens were, the outskirts of the garden was made of these different rocks. That's called a rockery. Bit of a school for you guys. But some of you guys are obviously landscapers and you probably know what I'm talking about. Do they even make them anymore? Or is it just retaining walls and different, I don't know. I've been out of the game for a long time. Anyway, but that was my upbringing, right? So entering the world of the finance markets, I had no idea. I really didn't know I knew I wanted to make money. I knew I wanted to get ahead. But I really didn't know what I needed to do. And I had to go through that first phase. And that first phase for me was the discovery phase. And some of you guys may be there right now, right? You may be there right now when it comes to your trading. And the discovery phase is you're just learning about different things, right? You're learning a lot of stuff. You're thinking a lot of stuff. You're trying to, watch people on YouTube. You're trying to go down this path of, you're just trying to understand, how do I actually really make money from this thing, right? I can see it there. How do I make money from this thing? Because every time I seem to get in, it always goes against me. Every time I seem to get out, it seems to go against me. And so the thing that I say for you is I want you to think two things. One, if you're going through that discovery phase now, well, you're just learning a lot about this. I want to point out a few things for you. Firstly, it's going to be hard. You're probably going to lose some money. You're going to do some stupid mistakes. You're going to probably maybe blow up a few trading accounts. You're probably going to lose a lot of money. There was one stage there where I lost everything. I was $250,000 in debt within the first 5 years of doing this. So I don't remember exactly when. The first few years, 3 to 5 years of doing this, I found myself $250,000 in debt. I had to sell my car, had to sell my house. And 6 months prior to this, I just got married to my wife. And then after that, here I was asking my mother and father-in-law if I could move in with them. That was a bit of a humble pie because I was a big shot trader. Well, I thought it was anyway. Until the market turned, and I wasn't really a trader. There's a while there where I jumped on a bit of a bull market and I got lucky and then the market turned and I didn't really know how to trade the markets. I just got lucky on a bull market. And that's where sometimes when I say to you guys, if you get lucky in a bull market, then, it's not long-term success in there. So the whole thing about that is that was a bit of a humble pie for me, and the situation with that was, my father-in-law was I felt so embarrassed. My father-in-law was a big shot trader, right? And I'm like, and then my mother-in-law's, and then they helped us out by putting us into a spare bedroom and mattress on the floor. And then I found out my wife was pregnant with my first son. And man, not only did I feel like a failure, because I wasn't living up to my own potential, what I thought I was going to do in the markets, right? But let me see if I can do this here. There we go, that's better. Not only did I not feel that, but then I felt like a failure from a husband point of view. Like I just felt so bad. And that was a bit of a turn back moment for me. And I knew I had to go back to work and get a job. And so what I ended up doing at that time, and this is just, I don't know, God's will, God's blessing at this time. I'm looking back now at that time, like, wow, what a blessing. I knew I wanted to stay in the trading industry because I really wanted to learn how to trade the markets. I just loved everything about it, right? I loved the charts. I loved drawing. I loved everything about it. But for some reason, I was learning a lot of stuff. But that stuff didn't equal good results, right? I was learning a lot. Watching, actually, was it YouTube videos back then? Maybe it was. I don't know. It was more courses and DVDs back then, right? Because when I first, for you OG guys, when I first started trading and I started trading the stock market, it was always you call the broker up. And that's how you place the trade, right? It wasn't a lot to do with technology. And so through this process, I was so blessed that, as I said before, I had to go back and get a job. But then I was actually part of a company that sent an email asking for salespeople. And now this company was a marketing company for all these different trading products. And it was amazing. So I got to go into work for this company. I ended up getting fired from the company because they didn't sell any product. Well, I sold a few things, but I was so excited to talk about the markets at that time. And then I ended up getting fired because I was talking to these people for hours on the phone about the markets, but what are you doing, John? Sell something. Anyway, but that was a blessing because for maybe 12 months, I think, that allowed me to still be part of the trading industry. And then this company was selling all these different courses. So I got access to all the different courses. I got access to the seminars. I got access to the speakers of the seminars and these different trading products and so on and so forth. And things started to click for me, right? I started to realize I started to see some things. And then things started to slowly click for me, right? And that's the reason why I run a coaching program. My hope is that I take what's taken me 20 years to figure out and condense it down into, say, a 6 to 12 month period. That's what I do for my coaching program. If you go to getjohnshelp.com or the link in the description there, you can see all the details about applying for that. I've got it open right now. I think there's a couple of spots left for the rest of 2025. But the whole thing about this here is I really want to say first is this. One, that initial stage is hard, right? It's hard. But I want to give you, before you quit, before you say this is not for you, before you say, it's not, before you do any of that, firstly, self-responsibility is the number one thing. You have to be self-responsibility, right? Because without you saying, what am I doing to totally screw up here? You're not going to learn any new distinctions, which is going to help you get better. You want to get better, right? You want to become good at this thing called trading, right? So the first thing is to say, where am I going wrong here? What am I actually doing wrong here? If you're this type of people that doesn't like to point the finger at you at all, and it's everyone else's fault, you are screwed. You should stop trading right now because the market has no place for you. But if you can say, you know what? I'm not looking to say I'm an idiot, but I'm looking to say, you know what? I'm looking to be self-responsibility. I'm looking to say, where am I going wrong here? Not to put myself down, but I actually want to know where I'm going wrong because I want to get better so I can get better at this thing called trading. Right? So that's the very first thing you must continuously do. I still do it to this day, all the time. What am I thinking right now? How am I? And so on and so forth. That's the first thing I do say. Second thing I do say is it's going to be a bit tough, right? It's going to be tough. But through that toughness, I want you to think about something. What if it took you another 5 years to really get this thing called trading? Now, when I say 5 years, you're not going to keep doing the same stuff over and over again, right? Within that 5 years, you're going to start to, you know what? I'm going to take, even if it takes me another 5 years to figure this out, I'm going to get it. And within that moment, you're going to really step up to a commitment of, I'm going to go to people who I believe in. I'm going to get coaching from them. I'm going to get mentoring from them, right? Because the number one thing that changed me around was I was doing all the different programs, and then I went to a private millionaire trader. He's actually still my mentor to this day, and he's made almost $2 million this year already. Just so you know who my mentor is, and the way that he trades the markets. Again, almost $2 million this year already. So when I'm talking about a few $100,000, like some people see on YouTube, the mentor that I get access from, and I have done for 10 years. That's why I'm so successful now, because I have access to someone like that. I know the strategies, I know his mindset, and so on and so forth. It wasn't until I started going to him that everything started to change. I went from 5-6 years doing nothing, not making any money, to then literally within 12 months, amazing. And then that's the journey of me. But the thing that stuck me out of this is this. I said to myself, and this was, again, when I first started training 20 years, so this is about 15 years ago, I said to myself, right, I've got two journeys right now. One, I can just quit this thing called trading because everyone else says I should quit. Or you know what? This may take me a lot more longer this may take me a lot longer to get this than I originally thought. But let's see. What if this took me 10 years in total with not making any money? But at the end of that 10 years, what if it took me 10 years in total to finally get this thing, and where I could start to make some really good money from that? Is that 10-year plan better than I'm going to quit on this thing called trading, and I'm just going to go work a job for the next 50 years and then get planted in the ground? Which one sounds better to you? Right? And so that's the thing that stuck me at trading. Now, obviously in the meantime, right, yes, you got to go to work, you got to earn some money and income and stuff like that to pay the bills, right? But your mindset to pull you through the mud, the shit, the lonely times, the people that's going to doubt you, the people that's going to put you down, the people that's going to say, why are you doing this for? You need something that's going to pull you. You can push for a while, right? Push is like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, right? Push is hard, right? Pull motivation is like, if I don't quit on this, I know I'm in 5 years time frame. And this is what I say to all my private clients that I'm with, right now. I say that we're all going to arrive in 2030 somewhere, right? We're all going to arrive somewhere in 2030. My question to you is, where are you going to be? If you go through a bit of a tough time, right, in your trading, are you just going to quit and just say it's not for me? Or are you going to say, step one, what am I doing here? What am I doing wrong? Not to bash myself up, but I'm just to say, you know what? I actually want to get better at this thing because I need to get better. If I don't get better, I'm not going to make money. Secondly, I need to really understand what I'm actually doing. And thirdly, I need to really get some mentoring and coaching. And fourthly, if I do quit on this thing, where am I going to be in 5 years time frame? And that answer to that question scared the shit out of me. Right, because at that particular time when I asked that question, I was actually just washing cars for a living. I think it was. Yeah, I was washing cars for a living. Earning $400 a week, just catching a train to there to do all that sort of stuff. Just to get a little bit of money coming in through, so I can start paying some bills. And I realized at that time, heck, even if this takes me another 10 years to finally get this, but at the end of 10 years, I could start to generate more money than most. I could be part of the top 1% and I can start to do really, really well for the rest of my life. That was worth it. And that was the thing that kept pulling me towards this thing called trading, because I knew there's other two journeys I was going to go down. I could stick at this thing and keep asking for help, keep trying to get better, keep being honest with myself about the way that I'm trading. Am I being disciplined? Am I being consistent? Do I have a good trading plan? Do I have any trading plan? What sort of trading patterns are working for me? All these different things I kept asking myself. And it takes time, right? It takes time to do this. But through that journey of me being responsible and saying, where am I screwing up so I can get better? Trading plans, all that sort of stuff. Let me continue reaching out for help. But then also saying that even if this thing takes me 10 years in total to figure out, that is a much better plan. Because if I don't do this, I know I'm going to spend the next 40 years getting slaved by the system and getting destroyed by the system. So if you're going through a hard time, if you're going to quit, firstly, if you need some help, apply for my coaching program. It might be a good fit for you where I can coach you, for the next 6 to 12 months and help you through a lot of these mindsets, strategies, foundations, understanding the markets, and so much that goes into a good trader. Because there's so much that goes into a good trader. That's second link in the description there, guys. GetJohnsHelp.com. You can fill out the application form, and I'll personally be speaking to you on the phone to have a good chat with you to see if you're a good fit with it. But just remember, if you're going to quit, especially if you've only been doing this for 5 years, where are you going to be in 10 years time frame? Are you going to wish you just stuck at it? Because guess what? Most successful people go through the turn back moments. The successful people in any era you see right now, me, trading, business, whatever, is they've gone through multiple times of turn back moments. This is not for me, but you said, you know what? Let's recommit. And when you did do that and you're stuck at it, 5 years later, you're the person you're hearing them about on YouTube.